I think I'm more of an up and down guy. My mother is back in the day they called it manic depression, and they've since called it bipolar. My mother battled depression my whole life. So I also, when I talk to my therapist, sometimes wonder if that's the root, because sometimes we mimic what we know. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's what I knew. I'll give an example, and this is like crazy personal, and I joke about it a lot, but it's real. I can count the number of times on one hand as a child I seen my mother dressed and outside of the house.
Damn.
On one hand, I can count how many times I've seen her dressed and out of our front door. And sadly, one of those times was whenever I was 16 and a half, 17 years old and getting charged as an adult and juvenile, and she had to come to court.
Just because of the manic depression?
Yeah. I've seen her get out more in the last 5 years than I did the first 30 years of my life.
Jesus, man.
You know? And it was like ingrained in her, like she was extremely depressed. Like getting her outside of the house is one thing. It was like months on end, I wouldn't see her outside of her bedroom. I would literally have to go to her bedroom to where she would hold court. Like she just did not get out of the house.
That's probably hard to see too growing up. Like being your mom and somebody you really look up to, that's probably hard to see all the time. That's my mom, dude. You know what I mean? It's like she was, and that's why I told you the story about the Bette Midler Rose at one time. Yeah.
It was like she dealt with her depression through entertainment as well. Like she would sit at that kitchen table when she would come out of that room and smoke a cigarette and listen to music and close her eyes and just, she wasn't there. And I was like, I want to make music like that. I want to do that. Like I want to help the way, because the doctors couldn't seem to help her. She took all these pills. It didn't change nothing. She went to the psychiatric hospital a couple of times. Never came back a changed woman. But music was something I could clearly see change her. This is like maybe the deepest I've ever got on a podcast. But music was something I seen change the way she dealt with her emotions, right? So I was like, well, maybe I would have been a doctor if the psychologist would have helped, right? Maybe I would have been like, I want to do that. I want to help that way, But music was the way I seen it help. So I was like, okay, well, this is what I can do. Then maybe music can help, It taught me how therapeutic music was. So I think that it's like with me, my depression just kind of has always been I'm either real manic or real low. I have an extreme personality, Will. Like in general, people who meet me after seeing, first of all, Barstool, Bussin With The Boys specifically, one of the greatest fan bases on earth. The amount of times I see people in public that stop me and go, seeing you on Bussin is insane. Congratulations to what you and Taylor and the boys have built. Dead ass. But it's like, what was I saying before that? I'm high.
You were talking about your mom's depression and how you saw the music change it, and then you were starting to talk about yourself, the way you deal with your depression. Yeah. Sometimes it's manic, sometimes
so it's like back to my extreme personalities, but
people meeting you out in person.
But I think the reason I thought about that was because they're like always cheering for me, and they're like, because we're deep on the podcast, sometimes they ask real pointed questions. Like, hey man, how are you doing? What's up with that, man? But it's like like I deal with things in extreme measures. Like, so, but I said that too about them boys, because when they meet me out, they're like, damn, you're exactly how you are on a podcast. Like you're kind of erratic in life. You've been with me. Like few of y'all now have been out with me. Like I'm kind of this way. This is who the fuck I am. It's not like, oh, turn it on, I'm getting on the bus. You know what I mean? Or,
right.
Whatever. It's like, but it's my extreme personality. The other side of that extreme personality is when I go to the house and just don't answer nobody's phone call for 3 weeks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm either on or off in general. Like that's my thing. Like I'm either dieting and trying to lose weight and actively care about living, or I don't give a fuck if the plane crashes. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm either going out to get fucking absolutely shit-faced, or I won't have a drink tonight. We're either going to sit here and do an entire bag of cocaine together, or I'll pass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like, this is my personality in general, right?
I'll do this entire bag of coke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like either we're going to go for it and we're going to sit here and rip little slugs and gator tails together, or I'm not fucking doing no drugs tonight.
Yeah.
It's like that has been my personality forever. And I think it kind of coincides with my depression because I'm either like, let's go take over the world. Let's write music. Let's go help people. Let's go do shows. Let's go do this. Let's vlog. Let's go podcast. Let's go do that. You know what I mean? Or I'm just like, no, I don't even want to look at my phone this week.
Damn.
And that's just kind of my
Do you
thing.
take anything for it?
No. Mm-mm. I'm afraid to. And I don't want to get too deep into that conversation because I don't judge people who do. And I want to be more educated before I speak on it because somebody inevitably will light my ass up right now.
Right. That's why I was sitting there nervous even bringing up all that stuff because I don't want to disrespect anybody.
I want to get educated on it. But my mother, my example of it, I never seen a difference. And I have other examples in my family who have followed my mother's footsteps that I don't want to say their name because I don't want to put them on Freight Street like that. But I've got real siblings who are just like she was, that I love to death and talk to all the time, that are just like, I can't figure out how to get out of this funk. And I go to their house and have, 25 pills on the counter. So it's like, for me, it's more like talking, communicating, coming on here and doing this. You text me like, yo, man, can we get into the depression today? I was like, yeah, I actually feel so much better talking about it. To be honest with you, having stuff like this and last night, Joe Rogan and Chappelle get me out of it. It's like purpose driven all of a sudden. It's like, okay, I got to get up and, this is deeper than myself. I got to get up and get dressed and go do something. Like, I got to go. Maybe somebody out there watching this is like, man, I needed to hear that. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So it's like, it becomes purpose driven.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, if you leave it up, like, I live for my family. I live for people. My wife calls me her little Robin Williams. I make everybody happy but myself, right? But it's like, that's my purpose, though. If it was left to Jason by himself, I would have already died. I would have already overdosed. If I didn't live for other people, if you had to count on how what I find in my self-worth, I'd already, this thing would have been over. And that's real.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely wanted to.
It's not right, but it's real.
I asked you that too because I feel like I'm comfortable enough with you to ask about it because there's a lot, like I just don't know about that world that much. Right. And so when you're open and talking about it, like you have a few times on the pod, I'm just like, hey, I want it because you had the recent post of like depression's real. And you're just curious like what that looks like when you start to slide down and when you start to come up out of it because anybody listening and watching, you just never know how your story can help people because you're open about talking about it. Like literally we were at the tailgate yesterday and this counselor came up and was just so stoked that we talk about therapy and mental health on the podcast. And she's like, it makes me so happy because she's like, hey, I'm one of your female listeners. I'm like, oh, 1 of 5. It's nice to meet you. We're joking around. But she brings that stuff up. So it's like, I have that.
I think it means a lot coming from y'all too, though. Cause like, even though you might not experience it, being open to communicate about it makes it cool for that's like, I don't want to say jocks, but like, there's a stigma that comes with guys like you.
No doubt.
That are just like, he's not, he probably.
They don't deal with stuff.
Yeah, like we would assume, one would assume that not only you would be like, depression isn't fucking real, get over it,
right.
Snap a football. You know what I'm saying? It's like, join a program. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, but that's not how you look at it. You are fascinated. Like, yo, I don't deal with it, but I understand the reality of it. How does it work? And that's cool because I think it makes it, guys like y'all being open up to it and having conversations with guys like me is such a far cry from what it was like when we were kids.
Oh yeah.
Even having this conversation would be like, fucking absolutely not.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
listen to these pussies on there talking about.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like fucking pussies on there talking about this fucking fake shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Get over it. You know what I mean? It's like, but now it's like a real conversation and that's cool, man.
Oh yeah.
That's going to help so many people to open up about it.
Right.
Because it's never a cry for help. You know what I mean? Like that's something else when I posted that. I was like, it's never a cry for
wanting
attention.
Sympathy. Yeah.
It's like you never want that. I feel like I owe people honesty. When I'm clearly not active. You know what I'm saying? Like, mm-hmm. I'm in like one of the biggest parts of my career ever. It would like fancy me a lot to be active right now. Like I wish I had the courage to post more. You know what I'm saying? I wish I felt confident enough to post more and I wasn't low sometimes. Cause it would do nothing but help me right now. Right. Because mm-hmm. of like the way the music's going. It's like, so when I'm not active, I'm like, I just feel like this honesty. And I also feel like it's important. Like I posted a picture the other day of me coming off stage and I was clearly twisted. I don't know if you've seen the picture, but I posted this picture. It's top 5 worst pictures of me ever. And I posted it saying this picture is not flattering for me. It makes me look like I didn't lose 25 pounds. Looks like I gained 30, right? And I'm like, but there it is. The one with the cup. Yeah, it's like, just look at how horrible this picture is of me, right? But it's like, it was real. I had just walked off stage.
It's like the Spooktober shirt
I was
photo.
fucking drunk. Yeah, right? I was on a shirt, baby. Fuck yeah. Fuck Bus More. I'm on a Spooktober shirt. But it's like, to me, I wanted to post that picture because it was like real. I wanted to post something that was like a picture that I wanted to intentionally post a picture that I wouldn't have posted.
Right.
That I was just like, oh man, this was a real moment though. I was really coming off stage in Detroit, fucking feeling myself. I was drunk. I was on 10 and I was fucking ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And look at me. This horrible picture. You feel me? But I don't know, man. It was like, I want to be more intentional about posting the real shit, man. I think people get into it. Like, I don't know.
I think it's good because you are having a lot of success with like your new album and like all your new music coming out and everything else. And you are seen as somebody who's ascending, right? Yes, and so when you talk about depression, when you talk about like intentionally wanting to post stuff, especially when you have anxieties and deal with like, you know, whether we all want to admit it or not, we all deal with like how we are perceived a lot of the times because of this made up world that we live in with social media. And it's cool to see somebody like you do that stuff because you're showing like the actual human side of everybody. So when somebody is watching and looking at it, they're like, you know, he's not somebody who just posts all the glamour, to where it looks like his life is just perfect all the time. This is somebody who struggles because a lot, like you said, a lot of athletes and a lot of players are now talking about mental health and stuff that they struggle with because we are all human beings. Like we all get to spots where we're making certain choices, right? And for me personally, I'm always not fascinated like, oh, this is awesome, but like I'm always very curious about like where it starts to go a little sideways or left for somebody like you. Like I see you as a friend and stuff. So when you're tweeting and stuff like that, like your immediate thing is like, hey, how are you doing? Like, how's everything going? How, is there anything anybody can do? But you just never know what somebody, how they want to reciprocate that. Right. But I think it's dope that you do that because again, a lot of people struggle with shit, whether they're successful or not. Right. You know what I mean? It makes it real.
Yeah, it has no it has no discrimination. Mental health has no discrimination, man. I've seen it hit every color, race, denomination. It's just real. It's just something I think everybody's dealt with it in some weird way, in their own way, and I think people just work their way out of their funk better, and some people are just better at coping, man. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm learning. I think a lot of it for me is finding. I said this to you a minute ago and didn't realize. It was like an epiphany. When you ever said something that you have thought about and was like, that's real. Like it's self-worth for me, I think. I think sometimes I don't find value in self, right? It's like I found value in what I do, but not who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I think that sometimes that causes it. I just really, like you were a therapist for me right now. Like I thought about that when I said that to you. And I was like, yeah, if I was left to my own self-worth, I'd already died. I'd have fucking probably overdosed on drugs. It's just lack of caring. You know what I mean? And at that moment, I was like, that's real. I find a lot of worth in what I do, not who I am.
I hope you guys like this clip. If you want to continue to be for the boys, you need to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share with a friend, and check out our playlist. We have all the links right here on the screen. As always, biggest of hugs and tiniest of kisses. Also, go check out the full episodes, but always for the boys.